broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
What? One Direction lost Zayn, but Zayn came up! Hey, what's good, everybody? You are watching the Jane the Virgin After Show on AfterBuzz TV. I'm your host, Stephanie Giorgi. You can follow me on Twitter at Stephanie Giorgi. And before we get started, go ahead and subscribe to our page below. Find us on iTunes and on SoundCloud. Rate us 5 stars and let us know what you think. Today, I'll be co-hosting with my boy, Sean Overman. Where can we find you on social media, love?
You guys can find me at Sean Austino on Twitter and Instagram.
Yes, I had to start with this because Zayn was just, feeling it.
This is a really sexy song.
It is a super sexy song, and I'm very proud of him. Anyways, continuing with Chapter 32 of Jane the Virgin, we have some very exciting things that happened today, and as you all know, I like to start with what is, I guess, the least amount of exciting and then go into the heavier things. As far as how I judge that, I'm going to go ahead and talk about our case first with Michael, just because we only saw a little bit of it, even though that was the largest thing that we ended off with last show. And we didn't have a flashback today. Or so I think.
We may have missed it.
Or so I think, you're right. I just have to let everyone know that we did have a bit of glitches, is what you...
Technical difficulties.
With our DVR today. We're not really sure. We kept trying to figure out what scenes we missed. So if we skip anything, we do apologize. But again, you can let us know all of that on Twitter, YouTube, and iTunes. So... Michael, the last thing that we leave off with is, like last time I said, this is Raph getting stabbed on the throat.
He got mootered in the neck.
He got mootered in the neck by his mooter mutter. Kidding, sorry. He got stabbed on the neck by his mom, and then
he got injected with something. Pretty much a tranquilizer.
Just to kind of knock him out for a second, which he's really lucky he didn't get killed considering her track record at this point.
And Michael found him.
Yeah. Michael found him, which I was so happy about. Yeah. When it first happened, I thought, we guessed it, which I'm pretty sure that...
I think we threw that around last time.
We might have, but I almost think we didn't. I actually think it was one of our YouTube commenters who said, actually, he was on the phone with Michael, so it might be Michael.
Yeah.
So kudos to you, person who did that. Also, which I promise I'll do my shout outs soon enough, as soon as Sam comes back, because she's always on the computer, so we'll give you the love that you all deserve. So then we see him kind of waking up, and Michael is there with his partner, and they start discussing things. They figure out that Michael is on the case, but more involved than what we all thought, which I think is the good thing about this show. We go in and out on loving all of these characters, but we forget that they are all human and all of them have done something wrong. With the exception of Jane, because she's our little angel.
She is super angelic
in this
show. She's she's almost untouchable.
And
really.
her mistakes are all genuine, innocent mistakes.
Oh yes, very innocent.
Whereas for the rest of everyone else, I think they know what they're doing.
Yeah, everybody else is a little bit tainted.
They are, exactly. But I don't know. So we have Michael kind of discussing with Raph the whole situation, and Michael is more involved than what he thinks because of when Mateo got stolen, and that's kind of where this is all stems from.
He gave the flash drive over when they did the exchange, right? But he didn't really give the flash drive. Somehow it didn't make it over to Mooter.
Yes.
Or was it? It was supposed to go over to Mooter, right?
He gave it to Nadine, and then it was supposed to go to Mooter. I'm wondering if Nadine being obviously she became a cop because she wanted to do good things to everyone, right? And then she had to save her family, so then she was in a weird position. I'm assuming she did all of this knowing that she just needed this to be solved. It's one of those things where you're like, no, F this BITCH who's running stuff right now. where we need to kind of, we need to tear this down. We need to shut this down.
I thought it was interesting to have them do those flashbacks with Nadine, and I was like, oh, okay, great. They brought the actress back who was playing her, and then we had like those weird like shots, it's just like they had those like
pictures and then shots,
like for us to be like, oh, that's a memory, and then it's like a month later, and then there's that one important shot at the end where it's like she supposedly drops glass or a bottle, and she really cuts him and puts a chip into his leg,
which is ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. Like, wouldn't you notice something like that in your body?
Think, but
it's so weird.
I guess it makes sense when it's like boom, boom, and you're like, oh, and then you're just like, you're kind of grabbing the leg the way she said, let me stop the blood. So it's like she's kind of messing with it so that he's not thinking about anything.
I guess so.
But good for her. I was more so thinking, damn, how do you think, oh, I know what to do. I'm gonna hide the chip in his leg.
That's like some black ops stuff right there.
That's what I'm saying. It's like in those crazy movies that, like, the SEAL 6. What is it called? The Navy.
It's like a 007 thing.
Right. These gnarly things. But good for her. I'm glad that they're up to par in their police work.
Yeah.
If you will. But yeah, so then we see that that's happened. So he finds the chip. He talks to his partner about it. That's all that's kind of spoken about in regards to Mutter.
He gave it to his lieutenant, and he said, I found this. Nadine gave this to me, but I didn't know she gave it to me.
Right.
Which does sound kind of suspicious.
I mean, we'll see what happens. I wonder if he took his blood completely off of it. Like,
if it's going to be able to function. But it probably will. There'd be no point to it if it wasn't able to be read later on.
We'll see, because we barely could see it. I kid you not, everyone. The chip came onto the screen, and Sean and I both got up, like as if it was in front of us, trying to see, because there was a glare. It wasn't a glare. It was the way it was filmed.
The screen has like dimmers on it, right? Like automatic dimmers.
And both of us.
Yeah. Wait. So we can't see from certain angles sometimes, and it goes in and out of brightness and dimness. Yeah. So it was such a funky situation. We had so many technical difficulties tonight.
It was ridiculous. I mean, the first thing that happened was I like unplugged. I'm like, my headphones don't work. They did. I unplugged it, everyone. I'm sorry.
The headphones, the pens we were using tonight
both
were
of our
messed
pens
up.
were broken. That's kind of weird.
Yeah. And then we had the DVR malfunctions tonight, and then we had the glare or brightness.
There's a lot of coincidence. Jeez. It was a parallel world for us today. It was quite weird. In and out of everything.
Technical difficulties for us, technical difficulties for Jane too, because there was a lot of computer stuff going on.
Yeah.
Right? She dropped, the computer dropped, and then OJ got on it. And then everybody was talking
Which, by the way, I'm about to start doing the American Crime Story, the People versus OJ. So when he's like, he goes, when OJ got it, it's done. I'm like, what? How did they already kind of put in OJ in this? And then I was like, oh, orange juice, Stephanie, orange juice, not OJ Simpson.
You know what's funny is that when that guy, what's his name, Dax, or did they call him Doc?
Dex?
Doc?
I don't know.
I thought it was
our Mac boy. I kept the entire time I wrote, they were at the Mac store. They're not there, but
it was the computer junction, and then he had escape on his white shirt,
which was very smart.
Yeah,
that was great.
Yeah,
but go ahead.
So he when he was saying all those things, when it's like OJ hits it hard or something, or it gets deep in there, I was thinking like sexual terms.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I was all over the place.
Yeah, he was like, I didn't think it was like OJ Simpson. I was thinking it was like he's coming onto her hard.
Right. So did I. Well, first I thought the OJ, and then quickly I knew that it wasn't OJ Simpson, and then I went into the sexual part of it. So I feel you, Sean, on that.
Yes.
Speaking of sexuality, poor Hélio'S dad is gay, and so, or not poor him, but I'm saying he came out. He finally came out. Poor him, because he had to be in the closet.
Yeah, poor him. He had to be in the closet for 40 years.
40 years.
He would date men who were in Rogelio's acting classes or at the church.
Or so he said, but he had a point.
Acting classes, at the theater. Mm-hmm. And then he would be like, oh, wait, I can't date these people anymore because my son's there. My son's going to these classes.
And he's going to come out.
Exactly.
And I feel like that's super true. I've been out in the neighborhood here in Los Angeles, and the gay community is very well known of each other. So I can see him attempting to have done that in the closet thing until it was like, whoa, my son's involved, my wife is here. It'll get really bad really soon. But because all of that is happening, Rogelio's trying to kind of look out for his mother, and then thinks he has a brilliant idea Which I understand. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like,
It was a good thing.
Yeah.
In a way. Like, I would want to do my mom a favor and hire her.
as a manager. She's no Kris Jenner, but she was doing what she could do.
I feel got how bad of a manager she is, and it must have all came back in those stress rashes he was getting.
Right, and that's exactly what it was. And it's not even that how bad she was, is that we forget that our mothers get a little bit too involved because they love us. In fact, I had the exact same situation happen on my on American Idol, 2016, this recent one. There is a mother who was way too involved during group week, and it just cracked me up because it was one of those things where I kept thinking, oh my God, if I was the other person, meaning if that wasn't my mother, I'd be like, ma'am, I'm sorry. What are you doing? You are not part of this at all. I'm sorry that your daughter's in this and she's underage, but...
Could you back up a little bit?
I mean, geez Louise.
Back up, lady.
Liliana's over here trying to rewrite the scripts, telling the co-lead actress to do a little bit of a wax job on her upper lip.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
That's what she was saying?
I mean, I'm pretty sure the only person that's allowed to tell you to get your upper lips whacked is the same one who's doing your eyebrows when they're like, oh, you should do your upper lip too.
Yeah.
That happened to me recently. I'm not going to lie.
Oh,
I was doing my eyebrows and she's like, upper lip too. And I said,
oh.
you do what you have to
See,
do.
but those Asian women, they don't have no filter.
They
have no filter.
But she was trying to make me look good. She's like, now you look beautiful. I was like, oh, thank you.
She want to get extra money from you.
Sorry, if anyone gets offended by that, we do apologize,
It's
but
okay.
we mean that in all good.
No, it's okay because I'm part Asian.
You're right.
That's
He's half
why.
Filipino.
Yes.
And I grew up with Filipinos.
Yes.
Okay, so we have that whole situation happening, and Rogelio, I feel like Xiomara is almost in a good part of this because she doesn't really like Rogelio's mother, which I'm very surprised that she didn't gloat in it, or not gloat, what's the word? She wasn't just like super happy about it, and she didn't rub it in his face. Even when he came home and he's like, I don't know if I should talk to you about this because you're biased and I don't want you to rub it in my face.
Well, Xiomara, she's been, I don't feel like, I think she's almost like Jane in some ways. Like she takes the high road like a lot of the time. In recent episodes.
It would make sense. It's one of those things where we can't, poor Zoe. Just because she was a little more free-spirited doesn't mean that she came from abuela. She did come from abuela, which is where half of Jane's influences come from as well. So yes, Xiomara is wonderful. She has been taking the higher road. And
she was rebellious in her youth. She learned a lot since then. She had to grow up very young.
Yes. And I said gloat because abuela says that in the episode. She's like, lesbianas, no, they don't gloat. And then she's like, I don't care, I will. But again, this is amongst women. We're allowed to joke that way. So that was really great.
You ladies.
I know. Oops.
Las damas.
Las damas. Como somos nosotros? Qué pena. Sorry. Anyways, we'll see if we can start adding some subtitles every time I decide to speak Spanish to y'all. Otherwise, just ask me or learn some Spanish. It's not going to hurt nobody. Okay, next. We have... I love her, then I don't love her. I love her, then I don't love her.
Petra?
Yes.
She was really mean this episode, but then it was funny because we get to see why. We get to see why she's so concerned, and it's funny because I feel like this is like a real life situation.
Yes.
Like with me at home with my wife, sometimes she gets mad at me for no reason at all, and I'm like, dude, what's going on? Like, and I get frustrated. But then when you really think about what was bothering her, that's what was in her mind, and that's why she was putting out her frustration to everybody. So she was frustrating the nurses because she was scared that she was going to lose her babies.
Which I have to say, no one can take that away from her. Absolutely. If you, and more so, a late miscarriage, meaning it's after that term where that's why they're telling you everything is going to be okay. I mean, let's say she had the baby prematurely, the baby would still have a good chance at life. That's how far along it was. So I understand. And then also women, because I'm going to just use myself as an example. And if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. Not every woman is like this. But I think that a lot of times, because we're told so much that we get too emotional and we do think we're dramatic, we're overly sentimental, whatever. I think that that's the reason why she's like, I'm not going to bring it up. I'm scared about it, but I'm just going to keep it to myself because I don't want anyone to like throw it in my face. Like, oh, you're exaggerating. Oh, you're being dramatic.
See,
it's like, no, I have every reason to be. I lost
Yes.
my baby
Yes.
already.
But then keeping it to yourself makes things worse sometimes.
It does, but it's like our form of trying to be brave because any other time we're venting, it's almost a complaint still. We're either nagging or we're being dramatic.
Well, at least she was able to share it with Raph. And that's and you know what? And she didn't even share it with him. He actually realized it,
Yes.
which was really cool. It was very
She hinted it.
Yeah, she hinted it, but he was very sensitive to it, which was great.
It was great. And this is man, this
But
is what's
it does show that they're getting back together now.
whoa, whoa, whoa.
They're on the ledge. They
No,
were
everyone, no.
They were in bed together, picking out the names.
This is what they did. Ready? Put your hand right there, sir. If the camera can see it, do the wide shot, please. They did a little bit of it this.
Uh-huh.
I'm doing this to you, and
Yes.
I can mean this. You're my friend, Sean.
Yes.
You're married, right?
Yes.
That doesn't mean I'm
Yes.
on you or anything.
So, no, but come on. They were ex-spouses.
Oh, no!
That's why it's totally different.
Okay, this is what I'm trying to say is that
Friends
I think
and
that
ex-spouses are completely different when you're holding hands.
here's the thing though. For the first time, I could see Petra seeing him and being like, oh my God, things are going to be great. But I could also see, you know what? They might just be similar people and might just be really good friends.
Well, they were married for how many years? What, 4 years?
Right, but it
5?
was all over the place. I mean,
was.
she left him. He did it with bad intentions.
And Milos was there too.
You know, I
yeah.
think this is the reason why I'm always stuck on Jane, because even though Raph wasn't there 5 years prior to what had happened, they still had that fantastic conversation. He was just somewhere else. Of course, he wouldn't think to get serious. And then when they saw each other again, they didn't want it. They did everything to kind of stay away from it. And then it was inevitable to get together, where there's always different intentions. Yes, Raph and Petra, I think that they're helping each other become better people.
I agree.
And that's it.
Yeah.
The only reason why it hurts me is because I want you guys all to know that I love Michael and I want him to be happy. I really, really do.
Michael did not look very happy this episode.
He didn't.
He was drinking up a storm, but I feel like he did get happy at the end. Not necessarily like romantically happy, but he was like, whoa, I solved a problem.
Right.
You know, and I think along
That
with,
might be his happiness, his work.
Yeah, exactly. And along with Nadine dying too, he did have like a little bit of a romance with Nadine, so maybe that's why he was really drinking, and he felt bad too that he felt like he caused her to die.
And that was his partner whom he felt betrayed by, which is also emotional for him. And then on top of that, they had their romance. And then on top of that, she died saving his life.
Yeah. That's pretty heavy.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, I mean, at the end of the day, I think everyone knows that people's loves are all over the place and they have these things that you don't even know. I'm looking at Grandpa saying he loved Carlos. Who is that? Sorry, I just saw that on my notes. I was like, he loves Carlos! ! I know how you feel, Grandpa. Don't worry. But it's one of those things. That's what I'm saying. Like everyone has these like secret loves, and I think you just, I don't know. You kind of find it out later. It just comes out to something else. I'm more thinking that, for instance, like when Jane and Raph, which we can transition into them, when they had the first moment together this season. Because they haven't.
Sitting on the porch.
Sitting on the porch, and he's just explaining things. And it was one of those things where instantly after she tells him, I went on this blind date, she walked away.
She just blurted it out too.
Yeah, but because she's comfortable and because
she's honest.
It's not like she went and slept with the guy. No, it was just a blind date. He texts her right away and he's like, damn, I really blew it. And people may be busy doing other things, but look where his head went right away.
Yeah.
He still doesn't want that.
He felt bad.
Yeah.
Right
Where
away.
even though he's having these romances with Petra, he's like, oh, I'm happy that we're okay. But I truly, with all my heart, don't think that he has anything. I mean, he had his baby moment with her. So officially, that's his respect towards the mother of his future children, if those are his children. Shout out to the person who said that they thought it was going to be one of the Zazo's kids, which it's not Roman, it's Aaron. Roman is the one who died. Aaron is the twin brother. Sorry, because they wrote Roman Zazo.
Yes.
But I'm just saying, like, people's hearts are all over the place, and we don't even know it.
Even with Jane too, like she knows she can't be with Michael or Raph right now. So she's out there, and she's even with her best friend, like putting her on Tinder or Zinder, whatever their version was. And she dated Dax or Doc, whatever the guy's name was, from the computer junction store.
Yeah.
And then she had that fantasy.
She did.
Also, oh my gosh.
Before we talked about the fantasy, can I just say that was so crazy? He's like, oh, you know what? I can't. What do you say? I'm going out of town with my girlfriend.
He said, I can't hang out with you on Saturday or this weekend. I'm hanging out with my girlfriend out of town.
I just want to say something to everybody who watches this. I think this is an example of where society is these days. I'm happy that he was honest, because honesty is truly the best policy. However, he's been dating some type of hoes because, excuse my language, but just the way he told her, he's like, she won't care.
Did he say that? Or
no,
you mean the way he said
he
that
said
sentence
it to her
earlier.
as if it would have not been an issue.
Like Jane shouldn't care.
Right. Like Jane, like he thought Jane was gonna be like, okay, so then we can do it the next weekend. Like,
oh
no.
my God.
No. Sir, you just told me you had a girlfriend. Bye.
Yeah. Jane's not like that.
I understand that, but I mean, I'm just saying the way he said it.
No, I know what you're saying.
Wow.
Yeah. We all know, like, Jane's character, she is such a good-hearted person. She's not looking for that type of relationship.
Right.
This guy, he's a skater, that's cool, that's
he
fine.
He was a skater boy. She said, see you later, boy. He wasn't good enough for her. Sorry.
But he just looks too immature for her, He's
He
like
does.
pulling all those flirtatious things with the sexual euphemisms,
Yeah.
It's just...
And Jane, I mean, on top of like an educated young woman, she's a writer. She firsthand knows about romanticism and realism. I mean, that's one of the things that you study, And so I think she gets it, and I understand her when her parents are like, oh, you're a relationship person, that's okay. And not everyone is dating, even though dating's good, just to have those random experiences, just to know that you don't like them. But I don't know, it's funny to see the single Jane. Because even the first guy, so Lena also sets up Jane with a random guy whom we think is going to be great. He seems really cool. He's into science.
He's a slug guy.
He's a slug guy, right? And then says, oh, who's that really cute boy? So he seems open to children. But then we find out that he was like, oh, too clingy, and he blocks her.
And it was only because of that date. So they went on that coffee date, and she just kept smiling at him like, hey, oh my God, this is perfect. And she was like biting her lip a little bit too. I thought those were like cute and charming. Like if I was a guy and I saw a girl doing that across from me, I'd be like, "Oh, she's super into me. This is cool."
Let's talk about that. Yeah. Oops. Sorry. Okay.
More technical difficulties.
No, I'm actually really excited. That's so funny because that's something that I think most of us can identify with, is how that is, because I did not see any of that. And then I'm thinking, oh my God, am I that person too? Am I doing too much? But there really are people who kind of, they read body language completely different.
Maybe it's because
Mind you, I didn't notice her being smiley and stuff. I thought she was just, I just saw that she smiled, like just to smile or whatever. And like, oh, you're so cute. But that makes me feel bad. Like, so then the next time I'm on a date, should I be like?
Maybe just like, maybe back off a little.
You know what I do.
But you know what?
I already look like a chola right now. I'm just saying.
Unbutton a couple of those buttons.
I can't. I'm going for a look right now.
No, but I feel Jane... you know what's interesting is in this episode, they brought up perspective a lot. Like, Dax, over at the computer store, he even said, like, oh, they're important files to you. Yeah, well, they're important to everybody. You know, it's a matter of perspective. And then I think perspective got brought up a lot because then we had Raph sitting on the porch with her, and she was like, oh my gosh, it's been such a crazy day because of this, that. And he was like, yeah, well, I kind of got like mooted in the neck. Right. And so then his day was really crazy compared to her day. So her going out there dating, she has a different perspective than this guy who's probably been dating a lot more because she's never been on any of these online dating sites.
So she only sees things serious. She doesn't she doesn't get like what's a joke or what isn't serious.
Or she doesn't see like, oh, I'm being too clingy right now, because she's like, oh, I just like this guy. I'm gonna be genuine. I'm gonna show it with my expressions. But then he is doing all these things on the side, like, dude, can you call me? Like, say you have car problems. That's kind of shady. Like, I didn't like that when that dude did
You know
that.
what's also shady is when Lena said, "Okay, Cupid is the past." What did she say? Something about that.
Yeah, she said, okay, Cupid is old-fashioned.
Is old-fashioned.
Yeah.
Which I think is absolutely ridiculous. And
People still use that thing.
right. And I'm not saying anything wrong about online dating, but for the sake of this argument, I have never been on Tinder, OkCupid, Bubble, I don't know
Match.com.
Match.com. I've never been on any of those. I personally do believe in meeting people organically.
Did you say bubble? Do you mean Bumble?
Did I say Bumble? Like I said, I don't know what those things are called.
Good. That shows you don't.
Yeah, I think that people are capable of meeting others organically, and if you just focus on doing things that you like to do, you know, it'll happen that way.
You can meet interesting people online dating, but ultimately the best relationships are the ones that you forge offline.
Right.
And that's how I met my wife. I
Offline.
didn't meet her online. I met her offline.
That's good. Again, like I said, I know so many couples who've done great and who've met online. It's just not my style, and I'm just not about that life.
It's much better IRL in real life.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, poor Jane. So we'll see what's happening. I guess I'm happy that she is trying, because more than, you know, before Mike and before Raph and before anyone else, she's the only person that does need all of this. So
she needs all these experiences.
Absolutely.
Because she had two dudes. One guy who she had a 3-year relationship with, and the other guy who just came out of nowhere, and she happened to have his semen implanted into her. Right? So those are two huge things.
Absolutely.
So for her, and we get to see her do all these random dates, it's nice because we get to like go along that voyage with her. And can we talk about the fantasy now?
Yes, please.
Okay. She woke up out of that dream that she must have been so aroused. Like the way she like just sat up in bed, she was like, oh my goodness.
It's bound to happen, sweet girl. You're 24 years old and you had a baby already? Come on now. I mean, that's a lot. And yes, it's this very, very attractive man who is equally as intelligent, if not more than Jane is. And in her dream, of course, he has the same author, and then that grilled cheese, which till this day cracks me up that that's her favorite food. Because
would she like to have grilled cheese
they come
in
from
bed?
such a Latina family, so I'm like, how did grilled cheese become your favorite food?
Maybe it's a simple food. Maybe it's like grilled cheese with
shout
like
out
a
to
little bit of puerco
shout out
in
to
it
my
or
girlfriend
something.
Julissa Calderon. She made a wonderful Latino Dominican dinner this evening. It was delicious. Sorry, it was great. I think that's why I feel so Latina tonight. I'm like, yeah, it was good, people.
Don't forget to check your notes.
Yeah.
Notes.
Oh no. Okay. Side note: we have a whiteboard behind one of the cameras, and it's where we write some of our notes of what we're going to speak about. And our engineer, our lovely
Mark.
Yeah, our lovely man here.
I am pretty gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
Very tall.
Super gorgeous.
Very tall güero.
He gives a very tall water. He writes notes, and I was like, "Notes? Oh my god." America, I'm sorry. I swear English is my first language.
It's okay, abuelita.
So he put an accent on the E, so now it does read. Notes.
Notes.
But anyways.
No te salgas.
That was a joke made from him because that was a sentence. Okay.
It was really good.
It doesn't matter. Anyways, what were we talking about?
We were talking about the fantasy.
I know how great it was.
I thought it was so fun. We knew it was a fantasy from the beginning, but I wish
I could. Am I doing too much? Like, she was.
like
Yes.
her
On that table.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah. She was wearing a very sexy dress, which we never get to see her wear. It was very like Latin inspired,
Cute.
very romantic looking, right?
Yes.
And then he had something different about him too, just very subtle. Like normally he looks really good, but then it was like the flirtatiousness of that hair coming down, like not being perfectly combed back like it usually is with the little coif. It was
With
kind
a
of
little
like
bit of like butt, like his like shirt, a little bit of chest hair.
yeah, it was like one button too low, and then he had his bangs like coming down a little bit, where he looked like a guy on those romance
the entire
novels.
time that he was talking, he's like, yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe. I'm like, oh my God, sir. Literally in my head, I'm thinking, sir. I'm like, what are you doing right now? Wait, is this the part? Can you please put me on the desk now? And I was so excited because it was great. And then especially when he says, your brains are so hot.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. If I was doing something, like if I was writing and someone said that to me, I'd be like, wait, should we leave now or or right here because I'm down. Down.
Can you give me a good grade later too?
Oh, Jane, our sweet girl.
She is like the perfect virgin, really. Like
Yeah.
she doesn't think about, oh, your pepino is so big or whatever. She's like, tell me my brains are big. You don't have to say anything about my senos.
Pepino means cucumber, just so everybody knows. Oh my gosh, that's so great.
Yeah, she doesn't think, she just likes a dude who's smart and likes the things that she likes. That's all. She just wants to have all those things in common with him.
Yeah, of course. Oh man, so that was our typical telenovela. Oh, I feel like I can't even say that anymore because there's a show called that now. But this is the original.
They're doing this off of the success of Jane the Virgin.
Heard.
They copied.
I heard that. But I love you, Ava. Don't worry about it. Anyway, so let's go ahead and go into predictions.
There you go.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
I'm excited. My predictions just came from, I was looking at my notes with the random things that I wrote. And I actually wrote a lot about the grandpa. So apparently I was focused on him. But I am actually excited to see the perspective that he's going to bring. I want to hear his romantic side because apparently he has this entire life lived that no one knows about. And, well, let's see what it is to not have what you've always wanted. Because that's, I read further on I love the person that he said. And so it's just kind of, I feel like she's going to learn a lot. Especially because last week when she saw him, that was the only greeting she had with any one of her new family members or any one of her family members that she didn't know yet, that she was super excited about. Like
Jane.
there was no awkwardness about it. Yes, excuse me. Jane and her grandpa. And then I just want to see, so I want to see that. I want to see perspective. I want to see what he brings. And then I want to see if either she makes a fool of herself with Mr. Chavez or if he falls into it a little bit.
I feel like with Mr. Chavez, Professor Chavez, he is going to do some things that will indicate that he's attracted to her. Like we saw in the teaser, like he's touching her back. Like the dude doesn't touch the back of his like TA like that, and they're at a social event too, it looks like, unless he's like kind of interested a little bit, you know, and he's being a caballero about it.
Okay.
He's
wow, I like the way you're wording everything, Sean, this evening.
Because he's not going
Mr. apparently not Filipino but super Latino. But
if he doesn't go for like the butt, if he doesn't go too low on the butt, you know, then he's more of a gentleman. He's like putting it into the back.
Here's my
the small
question.
of her back.
I'm a very affectionate and a very, very touchy person. Do you think that regardless if you're a touchy person or not, that men are more aware of what they're doing when it comes to that?
Yes, especially when he's a single guy, she's a single girl.
You think about it right away.
Yeah, like he is probably like, he's like flirting with danger a little bit because she is his TA / he's her mentor.
But at the end of the day, they're adults.
At the end of the day,
and they're not
adults,
in their work environment.
and they can be professional at the same time. Yes. So I feel like he is going to get tempted by it, but at the end of the episode, it is going to be one step closer, but he will not have. Maybe he'll kiss her, actually. Maybe there'll be a kiss. But I feel like it could be 2 episodes before he gets to kiss her.
Right. I agree.
If it does go down
and
that
if it
route.
does, I know it's not going to be in that setting. They're writers. Like, get out of here. They're going to inevitably just kiss in like a really crazy... This right here could have been written. That's how it's gonna happen. He's gonna be like, "You have an A+. Now kiss me." Kidding, not kidding.
That was a really good chapter.
Yeah, chapter 32. Oh, man, to be continued as always.
Yep.
I guess those are all the predictions.
Yeah.
All right.
That's about it.
Wonderful. Where can we find you on social media, love?
You guys can find me at Sean Austino. That's SeanAustino on Twitter and Instagram. Be sure to check out my book, City of Angels and Discontent. That is also a very romantic and very steamy book, and that's on Amazon.com, and you can also find it on the iBookstore.
I did just share his book on my Facebook page, which you can find me at Stephanie Giorgi as well. You can find me on Instagram at the Stephanie Giorgi, on Twitter at Stephanie Giorgi, and just let us know what you think. Again, I hope you guys are enjoying the show. Please share with your friends and your family and just anyone who talks about Jane the Virgin. Just talk about that after show also. Love you guys. We'll see you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.